to Now Women Ignite. So excited about today's guest. We have Brynn Murdock from Ogden, Utah. How are you doing this morning, Brynn?
So good. So excited to be here. Thanks, Karen.
Well, we're excited to have you here. Today's show is titled Make a Difference by Developing Others. Changing the world often begins right at home, where your passion meets your local community. Today's guest, Brynn, is an executive director of the Ogden School Foundation. She truly believes that a rising tide lifts all boats. So she's working hard to raise the tide in her community by developing local leaders and providing opportunities for people to flourish. So today we are going to deep dive in some powerful information from Brynn and get to know Brynn a little bit better today.
I'm so excited. Just excited to be here with you, Karen.
I'm so excited that you're here and you get to see all like the fun things that we're doing the backstage and all the podcasts. And it's like, here we go. This is what we do with technology. Like,
I know this is a new world to me.
It totally is. It totally is. And my listeners, they always like put up with me. And I truly love my listeners and I appreciate them. And you can continue to reach out to me on my website, shinenowornever.com. with your questions. And if you want to be a guest on the show, I'm always looking for the locals, women or men, to come and share their story with us. And today we get to do that with Brynn. At the beginning of each segment, I love Brynn just to take time just to do a deep grounding breath work together. And I always invite my listeners to do the same. So at this time, we just close our eyes and cross your legs and cross your hands, just so you're like whoosh, loosey-goosey in the chair. This is what it's about. And just close your eyes and take a deep breath in through your nose and out through your mouth. And take another deep breath in through your nose and out through your mouth. And then one more deep breath in and out through your mouth. And now bring your hands up around your shoulders like you're giving yourself a big hug. And repeat this affirmation. I am worthy of my love 3 times.
I am worthy of my love. I am worthy of my love. I am worthy of my love.
Another deep breath in through your nose. Out through your mouth. And then tapping 3 times on your chest, repeating the word accept. Accept, accept,
Accept,
accept.
accept, accept.
Another deep breath in and out through our mouths. Listeners, as you took that opportunity just for a moment, just to stop, just to be, to breathe, and to be present, understanding that the breath is a gift of life, understanding that now is a time to open up your heart, put your ego behind, and allow yourself to lean in to the message and the stories that will be told today. One more deep breath in through your nose and out through your mouth. Brynn, thanks for doing that with me. I always feel like with my guests, it just gives us the opportunity for you and I to connect and just be in the moment, because you've had a busy morning already. You said you were down in Salt Lake by 7 this morning.
I was, yeah, and there was snow, so I'm glad the roads were clear and made it there and back. So it is good to just take a second to breathe and just be mindful of all that's around us and all we have to be grateful for, which part of that is spending time with you.
Which my heart is just thrilled. It's pumping really fast right now, just having you here. So it's amazing. Listeners, you know, I love my affirmations and how the transform you are what you think. And that is so powerful, and all the scientific facts behind it. And remembering that in life, we've got 2 ears, 1 mouth. And so we listen to ourselves a lot, and that false or the negative dialogue that we might have, it's time to change. It's time to open up. It's time to talk nicely and be positive to yourself, especially in this world right now. The heaviness of the energy, I feel it with turmoil, with people, the unknown and what's coming up next, but to be able to stop for a moment and just be gratitude in your heart, like Brynn said, about the beauty of what's around us, about the beauty of what we truly have, and understanding that we are blessed and that we have our hard times for a reason. So the affirmation we have today, and Brynn, what I would love to do is, as I read it, think or share what comes to your mind for my listeners, and express to us what you're feeling right now. So the affirmation for today is, there is beauty in what was once broken. There is beauty in what was once broken.
I love that. Well, I just think it comes down to when you think of a diamond, right? That a diamond has to grow with pressure. You can't have this beautiful diamond without pressure. So I just think to me, it just is a reminder of recognizing that even though there's pressure or there's hard times, everyone in life is on their own journey, and we're all different, but joy and goodness comes from what we learn in hard times. That hard times can be blessings, and times when you feel broken or pressure or stress can help strengthen you. So that's what it means to me.
I love that. Listeners, get out your sticky pads, write this down. There is beauty in what was once broken. And just like Brynn said, like the diamond, I use that, the diamond in the rough, about the pressure of the world and how it just develops us. And my belief is a lot like Brynn's, where I believe each of us are a diamond, and each of us have grown and become that brilliance because of the pressure, because of the things we've experienced in life that has brought us forward. And some of us are still kind of ruffling ourselves out and cleaning ourselves out, but that diamond sparkling through. So I appreciate that, Brynn, for your sharing that so much. And I love the fact that you're like, we're connected here. We're on the same path.
I love it.
I love it so much. Brynn, I would love you just for a moment. I've got your bio in front of me, but I would love you to share with our listeners a little bit about who you are and what you've accomplished in this short time of life you've been on. Yeah, span life, because you're what? We just decided before, you're 28, right?
Yep.
They shared with the world how old you are. Sorry.
Hey, it's great. Yes, I am 28. So yeah, I'm the oldest of 4 siblings and have a really great relationship with my family. I'm really grateful for my parents and for my siblings. I really think they, first of all, really helped help me grow into who I am, and have always just been so supportive and always my best friends. I joke my mom is my best friend and my therapist and my workout partner and all of the things. So my family moved to Ogden when I entered 9th grade, and so got to go to Ogden High, and that's how I got to know Karen, back in a different phase of life, as being good friends with her son Deaton and her 2 daughters, knowing them through school. And then I went to Weber State University and studied political science and technical writing, and was on the dance team there. So I have a passion for dance and for performing and just all the life lessons that really taught me, and the confidence that has to come from going out and performing in front of a stadium or competing at a national competition. So I loved that phase of life. And then I had opportunities to do internships and kind of work throughout my undergrad. And so those really kind of led me to the career that I have now. I worked for the Huntsman School of Business at Utah State while I got my master's degree at nights in business administration. And then I don't know how much you want me to go into details.
No, I love it. I love it. I'm following along the bio. Go, yep, click. You did that.
Yep. So I did that, and then and we can talk more about this, but I had some, and still have some, really incredible mentors that saw value and saw strengths in me that I didn't see in myself. And I had some doubts and thought I'm too early in my career to be doing this, but really just pushed me. And so I got to go work for the Salt Lake Chamber. I did public policy there, was a registered lobbyist. I'm representing Utah's broad business community. lobbying up on the Hill, and I loved that. And when my boss there went to be the chief of staff for the Utah House of Representatives, she brought me with her, and I got to do policy and comm for the Utah House. And so through all of this, I'm learning all these amazing lessons and growing skills and having building relationships. That's my love, is building relationships and working towards a common goal. But my love is Ogden, and I grew up here. This is where I wanted to, all of this time. I'm still living in Ogden, commuting to Salt Lake, and I really, in everything I was doing, wanted to come home and bring all the experience and everything I've learned to better the community that I grew up in and I graduated from, and I'm choosing to call home with my husband. And so there's an opportunity to work for the Ogden Weber Technical College doing development. So that's running their foundation and working with the Custom Fit program, which helps develop businesses and their employees, and government relations. I started the Alumni Association there. And so I felt like I was really helping build my community that way and supporting students wanting to further their education. And I loved it and had no intention of leaving until the one job that I would ever leave for came available, and that was to be the executive director of the Ogden School Foundation, which is the district I graduated from, is the district I live in. I worked for the foundation, and my predecessor, Janice Voss, was the executive director for 32 years. And I had worked for her through my undergrad, and it just felt like coming home. And so I am so excited that now I get to continue to serve the community that I love here as the director, providing opportunities for students in my community. So there is a kind of brief, long version of how I got where I am.
Well, and I love that you mentioned Janice Voss, because Janice is a truly amazing woman and has done amazing things for Ogden. Like we had our daughter Emily on for last month, and Emily is right in her footsteps, following her, making her own path, doing her own things, bringing in her own experiences, which I love about Emily, because she's the founder, but continues to grow and evolve. And you're doing the exact same thing in your way and back to the community. And to me, that is just enlightening, and the passion you have. Tell our listeners a little bit. We were at a luncheon yesterday. Tell us, the listeners, a little bit about what that was and the guest speaker for that one.
Yes. So Karen and I are part of the Ogden Weber Chamber Women in Business Committee, which is amazing. It brings women together in our community to strengthen each other and really cheer each other on and be each other's. I had a mentor and a former employer tell me, you never are filling someone's shoes. You're always standing on their shoulders. And I feel like that's what we do as we come together, is that we're standing on each other's shoulders and bolstering each other. But it was the Women in Business Athena Award, which is the highest award you can get as a female business leader. And so it was given to Sarah Tolliver, who is the CEO of Visit Ogden, which is I'm not going to remember the official title, but the outdoor recreation, tourism.
Bring historical 25th Street, like revamping that entire thing and bringing in our Saturday farmers market and our Halloween spook thing. Was it spectacular? What was it called?
Harvest Moon.
Harvest Moon. There we go.
Yes. So she's just been an incredible leader in our community, and we got to honor her, and she spoke and just kind of told her experience, and I so appreciated hearing that. She talked about being the only female around the table and also usually the youngest person around the table, but just always being prepared to be the most knowledgeable and ready to listen, but the most prepared for the meetings. And that's actually advice.
Take that to heart, right?
Yeah, that's advice she gave me, years ago, when I just saw, you have been able to be so successful, and just the respect that she has within the community. It's not a my way or the highway respect. It's a people truly value her opinion. And so I asked her, how did you do that? Especially starting out as a young female, I feel like I can relate to you in that. And she said, be prepared going into every meeting. And so I try to do that. I try to know what's happening, do all the research, and then listen, knowing that I don't know everything and I want to learn. So it was a great lunch.
It was, and there's something that she said that stuck with me. Give back to where you live.
Yes.
She saw that when she was driving Canada or Colorado or someplace for the, like they were checking out another city, and it said, give back to where you live, or give back. Yeah, give back to where you live.
Yeah.
And it's like, that stuck with me. I'm like, how simple is that? But that's exactly what you're doing in your life, giving back to the community, giving back and bringing more ideas and the energy that is around it all, and giving back in a good way and not being negative. I want to say, Brynn, the first time I ran into you after you graduated from high school and kids grow up or whatever, was at the Realtors Davis County, the economic forecast. And there was Brynn up there giving us a forecast. I'm like, what the heck, girl? What's doing up there?
Yeah.
That was amazing. So just a little bit about that. I know this is just something that just came to my mind, that was probably one of the first times I saw you back on stage doing important things.
So that was when I was working at the Salt Lake Chamber, when I mentioned having mentors and bosses that saw more in me than I probably saw myself, and probably gave me responsibility I wasn't qualified for at the time, or didn't feel qualified for, I guess I should say. So we were working there and really trying to address the housing affordability crisis that was at the time looming. We knew it was coming to our state. And so we commissioned a study, and then I was asked to go to 50 city councils and county commissions from, I went all the way from Cache down to Washington County, across the whole state of Utah, talking to these county commissioners and these city council members and mayors about land use, which is obviously a very sometimes difficult discussion to have, and talking about housing affordability. And I was really nervous at first to think, I am in my 20s, I'm still in my master's program, and this is my responsibility. Are they going to take me seriously? But my boss just said, no, you can do this. You have all the information, you have the knowledge, and you can do it. And so that was such an amazing experience for me to go do those. And then I presented, and word got out. And so I'm presenting at economic forecast for realtors, and just the opportunities that gave me, because she knew I could do it, and gave me that chance to grow. And so I'm so grateful for that.
How many mentors just in the last 28 years stand out to you? I mean, a mentor is someone that always stands out, but like your top, you said there's a couple. Yeah.
So when I was, and some of these people probably don't even know how they've affected me. And I think that is what is so powerful.
Yeah.
Our fall author event this last year through the foundation, which I'm sure we can talk more about later, but the author shared, go out and tell those that gave you opportunities, thank you. So, and I have like a list of people that I've started checking off, but I need to reach out and finish telling everyone. But so when I was working at Utah State, I met with Corey Gardner, and she had been the president of the Ogden School Foundation when I was, an hourly employee, and just said, I want to get some advice from you. What do you think? Like career-wise, you've been so successful. And she just gave me some really good advice of, putting yourself in opportunities that give you chances to grow, and that you can really flourish and grow. And so I asked then Utah State, because I've always been between these two worlds of fundraising and government relations. Those are kind of my two, because I think they work really well together, because it's all about building relationships, coalitions to better those that you're serving. And so, and those I think are my two loves, because that is what I watched my dad do growing up, as he kind of lived in both of those worlds. And so when I was at Utah State, I said, I have these relationships at the Capitol because I had been an intern. And so that will be my second mentor, is then Representative Francis Gibson. I interned for him. He was the House Majority Whip, and was incredible. I mean, let me sit in on every conversation with business leaders, with university presidents, with all of these movers and shakers in the state. He asked me to sit in, and then I would, be taking notes. And then afterwards he would say, so what do you think? And would talk me through his thought process. Wow. And just that level of respect was amazing. And so I did that the last semester. I had graduated and did my undergrad and did my internship kind of as an audited class. And he said, so what's next? What are you going to do? And I told him, I'm applying for this job up at Utah State and I want to get my master's. And he said, great, I'm your reference. And he wrote my letter of recommendation. He, wrote a glowing reference for me. And still, I mean, he messaged me just a month ago, like, is my biggest cheerleader and is supporting me through all of that. So when I'm now working at Utah State, and I said, okay, I have these relationships at the Capitol, in the legislature, with donors down there. If you want me to, I can go down and advocate for the great things that we're doing up here. And so again, they gave me that opportunity to do that. So I'm there at the Capitol, and just, I mean, my bosses at Utah State, I would say, like Kim Larson still is advocating for me, but I'm at the Capitol and I see Abby Osborne, who's VP for the Salt Lake Chamber of Public Policy. And I've just watched her for years, and she's this firecracker, amazing woman. And I just walked up to her and said, I think you're amazing. What can I do to prepare to one day work for someone like you, or work for you? Like, what can I do? Because I want to be like you. And then she reaches out to me, and I think we're having a networking conversation. And all of a sudden I find out it's an interview. And by the end of it, I have a job offer to come work for her. And so that's when I was at the Salt Lake Chamber, and then worked for her at the Utah House. And she really pushed me to do things that might have been out of my comfort zone, but she believed in me. And so when the chance came to come home to Ogden Weber Tech, she knew that I'm an Ogden girl, and that's what I wanted. And she was so excited for me, but is still someone that we do our Peloton rides together in the mornings before work, still to this day, and still truly one of my closest friends and someone I admire. But she pushed me to do that. And then my team at OTEC, again, President Taggart gave me autonomy and told me to go for it. And so I've done that. And then he supported me coming here. So I just feel like everywhere I've gone, I've just had people that supported in me and believed in me and gave me opportunities that really helped shape me to be able to do all that I've been able to do in my life. That I feel very blessed for that. And I think my hope is that my grandpa always would say, cream rises to the top. And that's always my hope, is that if I do the very best that I can and commit to it and work really hard, I hope that's why they gave me the opportunities that I did, because they knew that I trusted them and I wanted to work for those opportunities.
And I love listening to that, because in those worlds, those environments, it can be cutthroat. And
it can.
And seeing and hearing that you had people that mentored you, that saw a vision. Maybe you hadn't seen it yet, but they could see in you, and allowing that to happen. I'm sure you reminded them of them when they were younger, the drive that you have, and being able to step forward and help that grow and help that inside of you, rise that cream to the top. I love that. Cream always rises to the top, which is good. And to me, it's all that support underneath that you're getting.
And I think the biggest, and now that I'm thinking, I'm like, oh, I reached out to Sarah Tolliver and asked her, And I reached out, Amanda Covington is someone I admire and I reached out to with questions. I think I'm not afraid to ask, that like, what would you do? Or how have you gotten where you have? How can I learn from you? So I think always being hungry and knowing that you can always grow, at least for me, is such a big thing, knowing that I'm not trying to figure this out on my own. There have been so many incredible people, like with the foundation now, and Janice, she ran this for 32 years, and I'm not having to start over. I can always ask others around me, and I think people want to help those. So we can all stand on each other's shoulders. I'm going to come back to that. So
I love that, coming back on each other's shoulders and standing and uniting together. And to me, that's what this is. This is what this environment and community is about. And I love that you're involved with that and you're part of it. And these mentors that have just come out of the woodwork, that you were not afraid to ask. And that I'm a learner. I'm always trying new things, asking, like I do the same thing. Well, how do you do that? Because I want to learn, I want to grow, I want to have new experiences. Because at the end of this life, I don't ever want to go, oh, I wish I would have. I never want to regret. And I think that's very important in life, not to get in those ruts where it's just the hamster wheel over and over and over again. It's time sometimes to jump off, ask, get a little nibble of the cheese and then ask for help and continue moving on. So listeners, we are going to go into a break, but thank you, Brynn. We'll be right back, and stay tuned because we've got a lot more to talk about with Brynn Murdock. We'll be right back after this message.
All clear. Just a moment while we save it.
Okay, perfect. All right, Brynn, how was that?
I feel like I am just, is that okay?
This is what it's about, Faith. We're highlighting you. This is
Okay.
about your journey, your life, everything about it. And I love that because, yeah, you're amazing. And listeners are going to love this. And I mean, to me, there's something you add to your resume, add to your Facebook, add to, you know what I mean? Ogden School Foundation, because we're going to deep dive into that next. So yeah, no, you're doing awesome.
Okay. Well, you can just interrupt me too if I'm like rambling on too much. Cut.
Yeah, that's enough, Brynn. That's enough.
Perfect.
I need to grab this piece of paper really quick, okay?
Okay.
All right. Did you jump
All right. We are all set for the second segment.
in? Okay.
Great. Here we go in 5, 4, 3.
Listeners, welcome back to Now Women Ignite. We are in Ogden, Utah, and I'm talking to one of our locals, Brynn Murdock, who is a powerhouse in the Ogden School Foundation, along with many other things. And if you listen to the first part of the show, you guys, if you're not in awe, I don't know. I am like in awe with everything that Brynn has accomplished in her young life at 28 years old, and the support, the mentors that she's had. And one thing before break that I love about Brynn, she mentioned that she's never afraid to ask questions. And I think how important that is, because I mean, growing up, sometimes you ask a question, you get made fun of. Too pretty soon you sink and you're like, I'm not going to ask any questions. And in my belief, Brynn, with your raising, that you were always encouraged to ask questions. What else do you want to know? What else can you do? And I'm sure your personality is a lot like that also, that you want to learn and grow. And so I think that is truly amazing. So I want to ask you a question. How do you help others succeed? Because you've been where you've been helped by mentors in this short 6 years of your life with going to college and working and things like that. And you mentioned something, how you want to thank people. The last author guest spoke about thanking others who have helped you, who were your role models and things like that. So how can you give back? How do you help others succeed?
And you mentioned it in the intro, but I really do believe that a rising tide lifts all ships. That it is my opportunity if and how I can give back to lift others just the way I've been lifted. So I have had, and I hope someone will someday say, hey, Brynn, I have a question for you. And I'll just repeat what I have learned, from others. But really always taking the opportunity to give back to those around me. Whether it be we have a really good working relationship with the other school foundations of sharing best practices and here's what's working, and I'm working closely with my counterparts at the technical college to really collaborate, but individually just finding ways to serve and whether it be professionally or just my neighbors or those that I interact with, really taking the time to recognize what they may need, if it's a listening ear or any sort of service that we can give, and then giving back. That's why I love my job. My job is to help others in the community and help our students achieve things that they might not think are possible for them. So I think that that's just something I try to keep in the forefront of my mind, is knowing that it is my blessing to be able to give back in whatever way that arises at the time.
And I love that. And I love that, tide rises all boats and the cream rises to the top. And it's all about rising together. And you can do that. Let's deep dive a little bit into the school foundation. What is Ogden School Foundation? Tell us a little bit about it. I know a little bit about it just because of background and things like that. And, my ex Derek was a part of the foundation and did an amazing job and loved it, and the value in it. And he worked closely with Janice Voss, and he was amazing with the foundation and loved every minute of it. And so this is kind of exciting for me to hear even more, and for our listeners to kind of deep dive into this.
Yeah, so the Ogden School Foundation, we're connected to the Ogden School District, so the 501c3 arm of the district, and our mission is to provide educational enhancement opportunities to the students in Ogden School District. So really, it's as simple as that, is providing opportunities for our students. Our school district is very unique in the fact that we are a minority majority school district. About 53% of our students are come from a diverse population, as well as about 70% of our students are economically disadvantaged. And so just a lot of unique opportunities come from that, knowing that everything that we do, these students probably wouldn't have opportunity to be exposed to these whether it's we bring in authors, we provide field trip opportunities. We kind of have 4 major focus areas: so literacy, math and science, technology, and the arts. And so kind of whatever fills in those areas, we have teacher grants. So each teacher in our district gets $1,200 worth of grant funding from the foundation, which is really unique.
That's a lot. Yeah.
And we partner with this program called Donors Choose, which can help us double those numbers from other donors across the nation, really. So finding unique ways to invest into each classroom, as well as we have our Market Star Student Resource Center. So we have clothing, food, hygiene items, household items, school supplies for every student and their family in our district that has a need. And then we're working right now on building out teen homeless centers in our 2 high schools for students to have access to washer and dryer and showers and food and the wraparound services that come. Our data, and this is 2019 data, but historically it's stayed around about 10% of our students experience homelessness during the school year. So just there's a need. So for us to be able to help fill those basic necessities and those gaps, so that they can then excel in school and the opportunities that we're providing. And then the district is amazing at helping families as well. So really, it's just providing opportunities and the best educational experience for our students, because we know if they're given the right chances and opportunities, they can do whatever they want. But sometimes they need someone there saying, look at this amazing 3D printer and what you've designed, and you can make a career in engineering and you can do this. And so that's what we're here for.
I love that. Let's talk a little bit, because the Fall Author is one of the main events that you have, like the biggest fundraiser, correct?
Yes. Yes.
So tell the listeners a little bit about that, because that's something all of us can go to. All of us can participate and learn and grow from those.
So we have 3 major fundraising events. We have a golf tournament, like every nonprofit does.
Yeah.
We love golf tournaments. We have a Night at the Raptors game, which is our local baseball team. Every student and their family gets free tickets to go to the game, which again, that's an experience that most families in our district wouldn't have the opportunity.
Right.
And then we have sponsors that make it a fundraising event. And then third is our Fall Author Gala. And this started back in 1996 with Brad Rayberry, and it has just grown every year, and it has actually become Utah's top literary event. So we bring in a world, a phenomenal author each year, and we don't do any like auctions or raffles or anything. You come and you sit. It's at the Ogden Ogden Eccles Conference Center, and we have a decorating committee that goes above and beyond. I mean, it's amazing just to come for the decorations, but they decorate the ballroom so it's like a scene or based off of a topic of one of the author's books. So we bring in the author. We have a really nice dinner. We do an envelope ask for a specific need in the schools. This last year, we did an ask for classroom grants, but then we hear from this author. And then the next day, so in conjunction with all of this, we do an essay writing contest in the schools. And we have hundreds of students participate. We select 10 winners, and the prompt is, again, based off the author. They get recognized at the dinner, but then that next morning, they get a private meet and greet with the author. They sign a book for them, speak with the student, and then we have an assembly where we bus in other students from the district to hear from, this world-renowned author. So this last year we had Brad Meltzer, and he was so inspiring, but just really talked. He has a children's book series about how ordinary people change the world. And so these students wrote about how these 5th and 6th graders, about how they as an ordinary student can change the world around them.
Wow.
And when he met with those student winners, I'm going to get choked up. I was choked up then. He sat down and he had notes on each of their essays and said, when you wrote about this, it was inspiring, and just went through with these students, and then pulled one aside who their story was so touching and heartbreaking about, as a 5th and 6th grader, how much they have been through already. I mean, more than I can never imagine going through, and said, you have a gift and you have a story to tell. Keep telling your story. And so not only is this an amazing fundraising event that helps us provide all the support for our students, but it is an amazing event for the community to come, be inspired. It's an amazing event for our students to come and learn and be inspired. So this year, our ticket sales open February 15th if anyone is interested.
Yes, no, let's promote this.
But it will be October 5th and 6th. 6th will be the student portion with Anthony Horowitz. So he is from, the agent we're working with is blown away. He usually doesn't come to the US, but he is coming from the UK, because he believes in our mission. Nice. He wrote all the Alex Rider series that are kind of a big YA teen spy. My brothers loved them, but he also writes like Magpie Murders. He's kind of a mystery. He's been commissioned for a James Bond novel, but he also writes a lot of the shows on BBC. So if you've watched Foyle's War or Magpie Murders, Those are all him. So it's going to be a really fun night.
Oh,
And a
that's
great way to
amazing.
support and invest in the students in our community.
Well, and I love that. And I love the fact that it's going international now. It's not
I
just,
know.
yeah, it's pretty amazing. It's like, whoa.
He is bringing his literary agent with him, who is and this isn't me just saying this is the agent that I'm working with, is
Okay.
a little starstruck. He is bringing the president of the largest literary agency in the world with him to our event here in Ogden, Utah. So
Wow.
it just shows really the respect and the foundation that this event has. It's just, so we've brought in Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, Neil Gaiman, Amy Tan, like just some really amazing authors, and all to support our kids.
Which I love that. And it goes back to the kids, to the community, and to the families. Tell us a little about the Resource Center.
Yes, so that was created back in 2020. And as I mentioned, we have, all the supplies that families need. We're actually building a new center a new building on campus that will house it. So it'll have a loading dock so we can take
Wow.
big shipments. It's doubling the square footage. We'll have a walk-in fridge for all fresh produce. But we have at each of our schools, we call them CSCs, a community school coordinator, and they work closely with the families to identify what that family needs. And then we have a system where they can put in an order and it gets delivered to them. I mean, within the day if they need it, but everything from coats and shoes and all the things, socks, underwear,
The basics
food,
that a lot of us take for granted.
everything that we're so blessed to have and not everyone else is. And like the beginning of the school year, they identified students that wouldn't be having enough resources for school supplies. And so at back to school night, they gave them a backpack with all the things that they need, so they can be successful.
I love that. I'm on the Realtor Board, the Community Connection. And so we put together 500 backpacks and did that prior to school starting, and just, getting together, bringing all the supplies together, going out, purchasing things like that, and then loading them together and understanding that this is going, we've done Weber County, Davis County. So it's one of those things, it's giving back, and it's little, but to others, it's huge. And that's what I love about it, is that it's all about, like you said, service and giving back. The teen centers, how is that? Tell us a little bit about that, because that's a newer thing too, right?
So we are just in the very beginning stages. So last year through the legislative session, they appropriated grant funding. So we received a grant for Ben Lomond, and we've now submitted for Ogden High. So we're hoping that will come through here shortly to help kind of with some of the construction costs. But we have some very generous architects and construction management teams that are donating their time and their services to the project. So we've identified a space in Ben Lomond and Ogden High. Ben Lomond is right across the hall from the counseling center. So it's just kind of this one-stop shop for all needs with an exterior door. So there's really to preserve dignity for the students of not feeling like they have to be paraded through to get these resources, that we just take care of them. So
I love the fact you guys have thought that through, because it's respecting. It's embarrassing for these young teens, where they want the help, but they're afraid to ask, and being able to do it in discreetly, I think is very powerful.
Yes. And so, I mean, just talking with their principal when we were going and looking at the space, he said, I've received texts that we've, opened the locker room for 3 students today already who needed a shower. This will be so well used and loved. So we're working on that, and then Ogden High, and then within our district, my personal goal, or something that we're starting to talk about, and the district is on board, is looking at finding these same resources in our junior highs. So the state is supporting and helping fund portions of high school, but it's all focused on high schools right now. But knowing the need in our community, once we finish with our high schools, we really want to get into the junior highs. And then we've identified some space out at Odyssey Elementary, who Odyssey within the boundaries is the Lantern House.
Mhm.
And so we've identified some space where we can support families who are experiencing homelessness and staying at the Lantern House, for them to be able to access a place to support them and their needs as well.
No, that's amazing. And there has been a growth. I mean, that percentage, 10%, that's pretty high.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, when you look at we're a district of about 11,000. That's about the same number that other surrounding districts have identified, but we are a much smaller district, and so just a lot higher of percentage.
Mhm.
And if we can help them, and then that's what we want to do.
And I think it's so important. I mean, it's for kids. I mean, we have the morning breakfast service, or, the lunch service, or the weekend things, like, so kids don't go without a meal. And how important is, I mean, that has been huge. I know in the district, for kids going off to school early, to get a good warm breakfast to start their day. And it's just the daily needs. And I'm sure there's probably been a rising, or more so will happen, just with what's going on economically in the nation, and
the inflation and
yes, with all of that. And so for those who are like, and for those who can give and give back to the community, how can people, who can they reach out to? Where can they go? Because I think so many of us want to help, but we're not quite sure how to do it. And a lot of us can write checks and send it off and be like, yeah, okay, good. It's, I've done something good today, where others are more like hands-on. Like I have service where that's more me. I want to be there. I want to help and do things like that. So how can we get involved?
Well, I will say, reach out to, I will be the point person. I will take anyone that wants to be involved and point you in whatever direction that is. Like you mentioned, if you're interested in financially giving, you can ogdenschoolfoundation.org, and we have a give option there and a breakdown of all of our programs. But we're always needing volunteers in our help with the Market Star Resource Center and just the logistics of that. We have an amazing team, but there's a lot that is on their plates there. And so a helping hand there, or opportunities to be in schools and be involved. So anytime anyone wants to be involved, you can reach out to the foundation and to me, and Murdock B at ogdensc.org. Let me know, and we will gladly have any help. And truly, all help is the investment in the students in our community, and we know investing in our students is investing in our future. So,
and I totally believe that, and love that you said that, because I think sometimes Ogden's diverse with, people who live here, but also age-wise too. A lot older citizens live here, things like that. And a lot of them are like, well, we're in Dyson, it doesn't matter. We're like, no, don't be saying that. It's like, no, continue to, because whether you have kids or grandkids, I mean, this is the legacy that you're leaving behind in order to help other people, especially the youth and the children in our community, and how important that is. So I think that's really important. I love the fact that the author, Brad, actually sat and talked to those children. And what an amazing topic. How can ordinary people make a difference? And if you think about it, those that have become extraordinary were basically ordinary, and sometimes didn't have anything. Where most of those who are successful, the millionaires, the billionaires, they weren't handed it. They've worked hard to get to where they're at. And I think that's really important to think. We look at the end results of people and go, oh, I want to be like that. But a lot of times you don't understand their story and what they've been through and how they've evolved and failed, right? The roller coasters, we talked about this a little bit before the show, how, Sarah was talking about, there's times, here's Sarah, this wonderful person, but there's times where she's like questioning, have I done enough? And that happens to all of us in life. Have we done enough? What else can I do? And there's so much of that happens on the backside, that we put on our masks because we don't want people to see that maybe we're struggling.
Mhm.
And I think in reality, how important it is to allow people to know we are human. We do struggle, we do question. So before we close, we just have a couple minutes, Brynn, with that kind of as the theme. Word of advice you would give to other people listening. Maybe they're having one of those days. I had one last week where I'm like, oh my gosh, it's a new moon. I know the moon phases. Let me tell you, new moon hits me and I'm like, whoosh, I go into my me hole. My me hole is what I call it. I get self-absorbed. Well, it's me. So I call it my me hole. I'm aware of it, right? But word of advice to someone who might be struggling at this time. What
I
could you?
just I think it's so important to surround yourself with people that lift you up. So for me, that's my husband, that's my mom and my dad, my siblings usually, no, but but also my team. And for me, and we were talking about this, when you have a purpose and your reason why, I always go back to my why. When I know my why, and I have people around me that can help lift me, then it's easy to continue on and know that no matter what you're doing, you're working towards your why. And so my why is my community, and the students in our community. I've always been mission driven. I mean, it's so important to me to feel like I'm involved in something that's bigger than myself. And so that's why I chose the career path I did, but maybe it's service organization, maybe it's your kids, maybe it's a family member, whatever it is. I always go back to that why and know that no matter what I'm doing, if I'm in line with my why, I can do it, and we'll together make a difference.
I love that. I think it is really important. There's so many self-help books that are talking about what is your why, and be clear, have clarity what your why is, and it can change. 6 months could be one, and then another month it might be something else, but understanding your why at this time in your life, I think is very important. Listeners, remember, there's beauty in what was once broken. The affirmation for today, never forget that, is that's how we learn and grow, because we're always going to have that roller coaster ride in life. And when we're in our deepest, darkest pit is when we can see the light, and step by step moving forward to the next why in our life. So never forget that. The world is not for sissies. We are here to experience our own story as we each walk our own personal journeys. Have an amazing day, and thank you for choosing to be here now. Until next month, sending you all love and light.
All right, great job. Good show. We're all clear.
Okay, thank you.
You're
Thank
welcome.
you.
And
And
sorry,
then-
sorry to mix up. Yeah, I got the email from Shannon.
Yeah,
So we're gonna go over and make sure we double check the other dates as well.
the
again.
dates and
Yeah.
time. So it's Mountain Time, 10 a.m. Mountain Time.
Yep. Yeah, she said that they all should be that time for 9 Pacific, 10 Mountain. So we're gonna go double check those.
Okay, thank you for doing that. I appreciate that.
No problem. All right. Thanks. Have a great day.
Okay,
Thank
thanks. You
you.
too.
Bye bye.
Appreciate it. Bye. All right. Well, thank you, Brynn. How was that?
Good, I think. Hopefully okay on your end, but good on, yeah. But now I'm thinking, I'm like, oh my gosh, there are so many other people that have helped me and blessed me. I could go on forever. So
Well, and I think that's good because it's awareness, right?
mhm.
And that's what it's already, the seed's been planted from the last, fall author. And so you're doing something about it. And that's what I love, is that you are aware and you're making sure that people know. And I think that's so important. But yeah, you're
thank
giving
you.
back, you're helping others just from doing this with us, the podcast today, the listeners, the way you've helped others with what you've said and how you can inspire other people. I think I love it. It's amazing. This is what brings me back each time for my podcast, is listening to wonderful people and guests like you, and you motivate me. All my guests have motivated me. It's like, oh my gosh, it's like, okay, I can do this. It's like I learn and grow every single time. And it fills my bucket. And so I appreciate you so much for taking
No, I
the time.
appreciate you. This is wonderful what you're doing. So thank you. Thanks for letting me be a part of it.
Of course.
However out of my comfort zone it was, I'm really grateful to be a part of it.
Yeah, it is always out of people's comfort zone, but it's not as scary as you thought. Was it?
Nope, it was good.
Was it?
Yeah. It was
That's
good.
good.
It was really good.
Yeah, I'm gonna go through the whole list of women in business and just like start pinpointing people going, you and you and you.
Awesome. And I talked to Jenny. Did you get in contact with her?
Nope.
Okay. I think she's going to be reaching out. I talked to her yesterday. So